morning, dear students. This is your Sudha ma'am. Welcome to the last session of lesson 3, that is transportation, the circulatory system. In our previous session, we have studied transportation of water and minerals through xylem vessels and an activity related to root pressure. In this session, we are going to learn about transportation of food through phloem vessels and related activities. Before learning that, let us observe the relation between transpiration and rainfall. Transpiration is a process by which the aerial parts of the plants lose water in the form of vapor. Already we know that the aerial parts like stomata present in the leaves and lenticels present on the stems, they release or they lose water in the form of vapor. The amount of water passing through the plant is often considerable. A huge amount of water is releasing out of the plants. For example, if you see an oak tree, it transpires as much as 900 liters of water per day. Per day, it transpires or releases 900 liters of water. Plants utilize about only 2% of absorbed water, and for their metabolic activities they utilize only 2% of the water which they have absorbed, and the remaining water they transpire through stomata and lenticels. This water is added to the normal moisture of the air, thus making the air saturated faster and brings rain. So, whatever the water vapor is coming out, it is mixed up with the moisture in the air and the air gets saturated, and due to this it rains. This is why forest areas often have a higher rainfall than the nearby areas, because more trees are there in the forest, so automatically the saturation also more water vapor, more saturation and more rains. It is amazing to know the amount of water transpired by plants. Fully grown one maize plant transpires 15 liters of water per week. A big mango tree will transpire from 750 to more than 3500 liters of water per day during growing season. 1 acre of maize plants may transpire more than 13,25,000 liters of water in a 100 days of growing season. So, very huge amount of water is transpired out of the plants. Transpiration is useful to the plants for maintaining the temperature of the plant. Like how the sweating helps us, like that the transpiration helps the plants to maintain the temperature. And it also helps in the transport of minerals from soil to the other parts of the plant. Now moving on to the next topic, that is transport of mineral salts. Plants need mineral salts for their nutrition, and these are obtained from soil solution through root hairs. The salts are in the form of electrically charged ions. Sodium chloride NaCl in the form of Na plus and Cl minus. Magnesium sulfate, if you take MgSO4, occurs as Mg plus 2 and SO4 minus 2. But one thing, children, the absorption of these salts is not possible by a simple process of diffusion. Like a carbon dioxide or oxygen, diffusion takes place, but this absorption of these salts cannot be by diffusion. It is active absorption, what we call it as. It involves the energy by cytoplasm, the use of energy by cytoplasm, what we call it as active absorption. Once ions are absorbed, they travel along with the water in the xylem vessels and pass to the growing regions of the plant. They may also pass from xylem to phloem laterally. Thus, mineral salts are natural factors in the plant growth. Transport of manufactured food. The transportation of manufactured food from leaves to other parts of the plant takes place through phloem, and this process is called translocation. The actual process of translocation you will learn in your higher classes. The transportation of food is bidirectional. It goes upwards and downwards, whereas the translocation of water is unidirectional from roots to leaves. But the manufactured food has to transport it to all the living cells, to the growing cells and the cells that stores the food. That is why it is bidirectional. It goes to the flowers, fruits, stems and roots. Now, let us observe an activity which provide evidence that food is transported in the phloem cells. We already knew that green plants, that is leaves, synthesize food such as sugar, and this food is to be transported to all the living cells and the cells which stores the food. Phloem sieve tubes are extremely small, and the analysis of food transportation through phloem is not easy. So, biologists studied the transportation of food in plants with the help of aphids. Aphids are small insects which feed on plant juices. To suck the juice from plants, aphid pierces its proboscis into the plant tissues. Pierces means making a hole into the plant tissue and inserts its proboscis. Proboscis is a long needle-like structure which help aphid to suck the sap. Even butterflies, they use proboscis to suck the nectar from flowers. Biologists noticed this when they killed a feeding aphid and the stem is carefully sectioned. They have observed that the proboscis penetrated up to the phloem sieve tubes. They killed the aphid when it was sucking plant juice and carefully cut away the body, leaving the hollow proboscis still inserted to the phloem. Due to the slight pressure in the phloem sieve tubes, the fluid slowly comes out from the cut end of the proboscis in the form of drops. These drops are then collected and analyzed and found that it contains sugar and amino acids. Aphids absorb so much sugar from phloem and they cannot assimilate all of it. So, they excrete it out of their bodies as sticky syrup called honeydew. This is why the leaves are sticky, often attacked by aphids. We have another experiment which illustrates the conduction of sugars by phloem. Select a plant and remove the bark from the shoot to expose the wood. Remove all the tissues from the center outwards, including phloem. After few days, when the tissue above and below the ring were analyzed, it was shown that the food has accumulated above the ring and was not present below it. If it is left for some more time, the stem increases in thickness immediately above the ring, but no growth occurred below the ring. So, any damage to the stem, if any partial damage to the stem, then the plant will survive. If the stem will prevent the food from passing down to the roots, the tree will eventually die. Certain mammals scratch the bark of the trees to get the food stored in the phloem. Example, owls and rabbits damage the trees to extract the food from the phloem. So, foresters encourage predators such as foxes, owls, hawks, etc. to kill the owls and rabbits. And even the grey squirrels damage the casuarina crop at beaches and seashores for the same reason. So, in this session, we have studied transportation of food in plants and the activities to show that food is transported through phloem. With this, we have completed this lesson. Meet you in our next session. Thank you.